Hi, welcome to ISE305, ISE543, summer of 2023, and this is your instructor, Praveen. So this ISE305, which is ISE543 for graduate students, is Introduction to Database Design and Practice. So in this lecture, I'll go over the course logistics, so you'll get some idea about what to expect in this course. So here we go. So the first and the foremost information that you need to know about this course is the mode of delivery. So this is an online course, but this online course would be delivered in an asynchronous mode. So in asynchronous mode means that we are not going to have any fixed time for lectures. Rather, I will be recording my video lectures as I'm doing right now, and I will be sharing with you the link to the recording of my video lectures. So I will be posting these video lectures on YouTube, and the link to the recording of video lectures on YouTube would be made available to you on Brightspace right over here, and I'm going to use Brightspace as our learning management system. So the course material will involve lecture slides, or the lecture notes you may call it, lecture videos, and apart from lectures you will have these homework components, you will have project, and you will also have quizzes. And it's not written over here, so let me add that over here. You will have quizzes and you will have exams. So in exams, there is going to be one midterm exam and there will be a final exam. So this information you would find in the next slide. No, I won't say next. In few slides from now, you would get this information about the tentative dates of quizzes and the exams. But here in this lecture slide, I don't have these important components. So I thought I should add those here. So now in this course, you will have lecture slides, lecture videos, you will have some assignments, and you will have a course project. So course project is going to be probably the biggest component of this course. And yeah, all these things would be posted on Brightspace. Your exams are going to be online. Exams means couple of quizzes and 2 exams. So you will have 2 quizzes, and then there are going to be 2 exams, one midterm exam and a final exam. And as I already mentioned, the video lectures would be uploaded on the YouTube, and I will share the link to these YouTube videos on this thing, Brightspace. So now if you want to know about me, your instructor, so here I am. My name is Praveen, and my last name is Tripathi. I am available in my office hours. Now these office hours that we have are going to be synchronous. So that means I have fixed a time for my office hours, and I'll be holding that online using Zoom, and I have made that Zoom link available on Brightspace, so some of you might be knowing it. So my office hours are going to be on Tuesday and Thursday from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. and I should have written here that it is New York time. It would be useful for those students who are not in the same time zone as I am. So keep it in mind that for my office hours, which I've posted as the time starting from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., this is going to be New York time. So it is possible that some of you may not be able to join my office hours in this interval. If that is the case, then please let me know. I'll be happy to schedule it for you at other time. I mean, what I mean to say is that I will be also available by appointment. So don't hesitate, shoot me an email and I'll find some time for you. This is the email that I prefer. which is Praveen at cs.stonybrook.edu. You can also use my Stonybrook email, which is praveen.tripathi at stonybrook.edu. So let's understand this thing about exam. So exams are going to be online. So this involves when I have written tests here. So tests include quizzes, a midterm exam, and the final test. They are going to be online, and I'll be using a lockdown browser. So most probably I will use Respondus lockdown browser. We'll be posting the information about about lockdown browser, this Respondus lockdown browser, so that you can install and try on your machine. So with Respondus lockdown browser, we also have Respondus monitor. So if while you're taking the exam, you'll have to use the browser as well as the monitor. So you don't need to worry too much about monitor. If you just install Respondus lockdown browser and follow the steps, you would be all right. For monitor, we would need a camera. So it won't be a problem for those students who are using a laptop, because I have the understanding that almost all the laptops, they come inbuilt with the integrated webcam, so they should not have any problem. But for those students who are planning to use a desktop machine, then for that year they should make sure that they have a webcam. Probably they will have to get an external webcam if they don't have any already available. I have an understanding that probably with the most recent desktop machines, you may get an integrated webcam probably on monitor somewhere. Okay, so now let's look at these exam dates. The first exam would be quiz 1, that will be on 5th of June, that is a Monday, and the time would be from 8:45 p.m. to 9:25 p.m. New York time. So quiz is going to be pretty short. So you might be wondering, like, you may not have sufficient time, but that is not the case. Usually I give 40 minutes, but students usually finish it in 15 to 20 minutes, or maybe a little early. So that's about quiz 1. And then midterm. For the midterm exam, I have picked the date as 16th of June, which is a Friday, and the exam would be in evening. Midterm would be at 8. It will start at 8:30 p.m. and will go till 10 p.m. So all these times are New York time. Quiz 2 is scheduled on 23rd of June, that is a Friday, and would be in evening from 8:45 p.m. to 9:25 p.m. This is the New York time. For final test, your final test would be on 3rd of July, that is Monday. It will start at 8:30 p.m. and it will end at 10:30 p.m. So some of you might be wondering, like, why did I pick the evening time? Well, for the reason that I have understanding that students who are taking the summer courses, some of them, they also do internship, and during internship time, I mean, probably evening would be an appropriate time for them. Okay, so as I already mentioned that project, you will have a course project, and course project will account for, I think, 35% of your whole grade. So we will look at this percentage in one of the slide that I have in this lecture. But in the course project, you will have multiple stages, and towards the end you will have to do a project demo. So the project demo will start from this date, which is 27th of June to 5th of July. So I want you people to sign up and finish your project demo in this duration. I will provide a sign up sheet with some time availability, and you'll have to sign up accordingly. But for project, you don't need to worry right now. Probably in a couple of weeks from now we will start thinking about course project. Then you'll know where exactly this project demo will figure in. So let's look at some general class issues if you're thinking about what this course is all about. Is it too theoretical or is it too practical? So just to answer that question, it is going to be a hands-on class. In my lecture, you will find that I will be using some examples, and for those examples, I will use some data, and that data I will be sharing with you also, so that you can do the same thing which I'll be doing in my class. So it's a hands-on class. We do a lot of in-class example. So I will be using some data in my lectures where I'll do online demo. And in the lecture, you will find that we will have some sections titled as Are We on Track? So Are We on Track section of the lecture will have some exercises after each video. And those exercises are for you people to work on to check whether you are on track or not, whether you followed the content in the lecture or not. Right? So let me put some stars over here. When I put stars in my lectures, then that means these are important. Good. So now let's look into the software requirement. You will need MS Access. I will talk about that in one of the slide. So if you're using Windows machine, then probably you may already have MS Access. If not, then you can reach out to the university and probably they may provide one for you. Otherwise, we have this option available, and this is very handy for the students who use non-window machine like a Mac machine or the Linux machine. So they can reach out to the virtual sync site. I have the link for the virtual sync site over here. Please try and let me know if you are facing any issues here. I will look into that. So in the virtual sync site, you can log in from your computer using your credentials, and then it will take you to a virtual machine, and on that virtual machine you can use MS Access. So I've done that in my in-person class, and it's cool actually because you don't need to worry about your machine if that is a Mac or Linux. It'll still, I mean, uh, you will still be able to work on that virtual sync site. So here the softwares are generally available on your computer. So generally means if you're using Windows machine, then you won't need to worry about it. Otherwise, for students who are using non-window machine, they'll have to probably rely on virtual sync site. So we do have a textbook, that is Data Management by Richard T. Watson. But honestly speaking, the lecture slide or the lecture material that I'll be sharing with you would be enough. But if there is a student who wants to learn a little more and wants to dive deep in databases, then that student can get this book. Okay, so yeah, I mean this is about the textbook only if you are interested in buying. So for class information, you should check Brightspace regularly, and I'll be making announcements on the Brightspace. So please don't ignore those announcements. Those are going to be very, very important. They may have the reminder, like if you have quiz, and they may have the information that the homeworks are posted, the homework related instructions like how to submit, the deadlines and all those things. So yeah, please check Brightspace regularly and don't ignore those announcements. The syllabus has been already posted on the Brightspace. The office hours information also I provided along with the syllabus. So I'm going to post these lecture notes along with the video recording on Brightspace. Assignments information will be available there. Class notes are provided over there. So most of the information, or I would say everything, would be available on Brightspace. So you need to check Brightspace regularly so that you are on track and you are not missing something extremely urgent. So now you might be wondering, like, what is the purpose of this course? What will be, we would learn by the end of this course? So the purpose of ISE 305 is to make the student understand the use of databases in any information system, right? So believe me, in most of the systems that you are interacting with, which could be an app, like say you went to Amazon.com and you want to buy a textbook, right? So there also in the transaction that you will ultimately make by ordering the book, you would be dealing with at least one database. So the reason I took this example is that in most of the apps that you're using in your day-to-day life, I'm pretty sure that you must be dealing with at least one database. So by the end of this course, you will understand the issues involved with the databases. Information systems, which we can consider as the apps that you're using, say like Facebook even, they all deal with databases. So we would get some understanding of the issues involved with the databases in information system. So what will happen, as I said, that one of the course component is your course project. So while doing the course project, you will gain a hands-on experience with a small, medium-sized database. So and in that project, you will be also building a GUI front end. GUI stands for graphical user interface. You will be designing a front end, and which is going to be a fun activity because this MS Access, right? I should be writing over here. MS Access, the software that you need. MS is for Microsoft. This is the software that is from Microsoft. This is what we will be using for this course. And here we do have some tools which are very easy to use for designing the GUI. So when you'll be working on your course project, which can be done in a team of maximum 3 students, yeah, you can get a very good hands-on experience about a medium-sized database. So what will happen in the couple of initial couple of weeks, I would say, you'll get the desired background, and in that background I'll introduce you to the database management system, DBMS, relational DBMS, and we'll understand the importance of a database management system with the help of some small examples, and you will learn a very powerful language which is called SQL, or SQL. Stands for Structured Query Language, which is very important language to know for databases. So yeah, once you have gained the required background, then you can pick a project topic and you can work on that, and that's where you'll get the hands-on experience. So in this whole process, you will learn about the issues which are involved in any enterprise style system. So this I think I have already explained to you. And here our emphasis in this course would be in translating the requirements into a database. So this requirement means what would be uh, desired of a system, a typical database system. So let's think about a scenario where we have a university, and the university is in initial stages. It just starts functioning, and now the university will have to keep the records of the students, of the employees. So in the real life, that university, which we can think of as an enterprise, will have some requirements like storing the database of or storing the data of all the students, all the employees, so on and so forth, and its resources. So those requirements are daily requirements, right? Real life requirements. Now, a database designer, or you may call them as a database administrator if you want to, they will have to understand these requirements, real life requirements, and need to translate that into the database, right? So this kind of exercise in a way you will be doing for your project as well, and then you'll understand what this really means. Now, one thing that we need to understand in this course is that we will not be emphasizing on database performance. So in fact, the database management system in itself is a very um, big domain in computer science, I'll say. So it's not possible to do justice to the subject of database in just one course. So for that reason, we will not be spending much time on the performance of the databases, but we would look at the normalization. Normalization is a very interesting topic which I will discuss probably around the end of the semester, and there you may get some flavor of the performance, right? Like how can we make our table more efficient. So table and all, we will learn about those things. You don't need to worry right now. Okay, so let's look at the course objectives. It is to become familiar with the way in which the databases interact with information system. So we have seen something like this in the previous slide as well. You will develop the skills in entity modeling, which is going to be a fun activity. So let's not discuss what is entity right now. We will learn about that in detail in those respective lectures. You will learn about SQL, structured query language, right? So I would say that probably at least 25% of your time in ISE305 would be spent in learning structured query language, SQL or SQL. You will be using MS Access. So in MS Access, you will learn how to write SQL, and you'll get an hands-on experience on that too. Some students they liked MySQL, so MySQL is also an option which you can try. And I've seen that mostly the students who did not get the access to MS Access, they use MySQL. That is fine too, right? So let me know if that's what you decide to do. But since my demos are going to be on my access, and the lecture material also will be emphasizing MS Access more, so I would encourage you to use MS Access. But MySQL is cool too. Now, if you're wondering about your grading, then yeah, you'll get all the grades that Stony Brook allows. You'll get A minus, B plus. It all depends on where you stand. Now, grades would be determined on the basis of your performance in exams, which includes 2 quizzes, 1 midterm exam, and a final exam. You will have some homework or the assignments, and there's going to be a 1 course project. So, quizzes we have over here. Exam questions will be very easy, but that doesn't mean that you should attempt to appear in the exam without studying for the exam. You must study. So if you are spending decent amount of time watching the video lectures, reading the lecture notes, and making sure that you follow what has been taught, then I think you would find the exams easy. Yeah, so that's what we have. Exam questions will be easy if you have carefully completed the assignments. So in progress, okay, here, see, it's possible that I'll have Blackboard. The reason being, I have been using Blackboard, but now since we have moved to Brightspace, so let me replace that by Brightspace. So in progress grades will be available on Brightspace. And the grade distribution would be very similar to any course that you have already taken. And I do have the grading criteria mentioned on the syllabus, so you can look at the grade cutoff for that, like what would be the range for A grade, A minus, and all that. That's available on the syllabus that I have already posted on your Brightspace. So final grades are calculated based on a formula. So the formula is over here. Your midterm would account for your 20% of grade. The final exam would be for 25%. Your project will account for 35%, which makes the project extremely important. And as I said, you can do project in a team. Okay, so that will make it even more fun. The quizzes are going to be 10%. This is something I need to check. If you find any inconsistency, please let me know. I will fix that. But I have a feeling that probably something needs to be fixed. Okay, I'll get back to you people about that. Okay, so there may be some inconsistency in what I have over here and what I have on the syllabus. So for assignment, late submissions are not accepted. Quiz questions will be taken primarily from the lecture material, I would say. The final grade is based on your total score, and we will be using this formula. And I might change this formula over here because I remember that probably I have other distribution. I need to check my syllabus. So this homework should be 14%, I think, and the quizzes are 6%. I'm sorry about that. I will fix it right after this lecture. I will look at my syllabus and I'll make an announcement on this thing, Brightspace. That's what I vaguely remember. Probably this is the percentage. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so you need to submit the assignments on Brightspace. Every assignment will have the corresponding instructions. To receive credit, you must have made a reasonable attempt. So don't miss the assignments, because if you're missing the assignment, you will get a 0. So make an attempt, try to do something, right? So ideally it should be 100% so that you can earn 100% grade. If not, then please make an attempt, right? So I'll see how much you have worked. So you might get 60%, 80%, or at least 50%. So try to write SQL code, and these SQL statements, or if you want to treat that as a program, then the SQL programs are very simple, very few lines of code. Now assignments must be done by you only. It is to be done individually. For assignment, group work is not acceptable. Group work is acceptable only for the project, so this you need to understand. Assignments will be graded, and you will get a feedback like why did you lose a point if you're losing some points. You should submit the assignments on time, and because for late submission, I don't think I'll grade the late submission, so please submit it on time. So the components of the assignment problems can be used in the exam also, right? So be careful, so don't miss the assignments. You should pay attention to academic integrity. So university rules for academic integrity can be found over here. Please go to this link and make sure that you understand what is allowed and what is not. So all the work should be your own. And for project, you can cite some references. So as an example, say if you well, for the project, I will allow you people to pick the project topic. So since it's a database project, you need some data. So assume that you're building your project similar to Airbnb. I hope you know what is Airbnb, right? So Airbnb is the app where you reserve the rooms, right? It's kind of a hotel only, but it's cheaper than hotel, where house owners or the apartment owners, they provide their house on rent. So if you want to design a database which is similar to Airbnb, then you need the data, right? So you can get the data from Airbnb if they are providing this data to be used. In that case, you need to cite the reference. You should say that you got this data from Airbnb. So that kind of references are allowed. But getting the homework assignment from your friend and citing that I got the solutions from my friend would not be considered as uh, you know that thing would be considered as academic dishonesty. So you need to understand these things really well. So let's look at the project. I mean, little bit, right? We can't. We will have one complete lecture on project. So there is going to be one major project in the course. The project covers most of the important concepts covered in the course. So the important concepts would be covered through the lectures, and you may have some homework based on those important components or the concepts. And finally, the project that you will be designing would cover those important concepts. So in the project, you will have to design a database on the topic of your interest, right? So that makes it even more fun. So as an example, if you love sports and you like basketball, right? So yeah, you would say, okay, fine, I'll design my project which will have the data about basketball. Okay, so yeah, you can pick the topic of your interest and you can develop an implementation in the Access or MySQL. So there will be some requirement. Your project should not be very simple. So for that, we'll have to understand like what makes the project medium level complexity. How should we check whether it is too simple or not? So we will learn about these concepts of entities. So once you learn what is an entity in a database, then you'll have to make sure that the database that you're designing has at least 5 to 10 entities. Okay, and for that I can help you. You can come to my office hours, we can have a discussion, and I'll probably help you out with identifying more entities. So you will have to give the presentation of an RDM, relational data model. We'll learn about relational data model. So in the project, there will be a stage where you would have to design an RDM, and the RDM will also have some points. I think it's 15 points. So out of your 35 points for project, 15 points are for RDM, right? So you will have to design the RDM of your project. And once you have that design, you will have to present that in front of me. All right, so this RDM will also have some points. These things will happen probably after a couple of weeks, right? And I'll be posting the announcement about RDM, like when is it due and all those things. And in your project, you should have a large amount of data. We'll figure out like what is large. So the final project presentation would be of 30 minutes for each team. So in the presentation, you will also have to you will have to show me the demo of your database. How is that working? So you can structure that presentation as an oral exam, but this thing will happen towards the end of the semester. You should just get an idea about what would be expected from you in the project presentation. So in class means you can come to my office hours. It's an online thing. Okay. So yeah, I mean, other students, they can participate if they want to see how their friends are doing, and from that they can get some idea like how they should prepare for their presentation. So details would be provided on Brightspace by the mid-semester, as I said, about your project. You'll have to pick your project topic. You will have to write a statement about your project. You'll have to create RDM, and if I find that your RDM can be improved, then I'll ask you to revise it. So you will have to revise your proposed project RDM in accordance with the feedback that you would receive from me. And once your RDM is ready, then after the RDM, which is, let me give you some idea about what RDM is. So RDM is the conceptual design. So you will have to pick a project topic and then you will conceptually design that using a diagram, right? So it's the RDM has these structures like boxes and the ovals and all that. We will do some exercise on RDM before you are required to do it. So after the conceptual design has been made, then you will have to ultimately implement that database. And implementation involves creating tables. So we'll learn about tables and all that. So probably in your second or third lecture, you will learn what tables are. You will start learning about these things. You will start learning about RDM. Right. So probably in next to next video lecture, you will anyway get introduced to RDM and the tables and all that. So don't worry about that right now. And you'll have to create simple forms. So forms are going to be your GUI, graphical user interface. So the project would require you to design some forms, and these forms are very easy to create using MS Access. So in the project deliverables, you will be asked to come up with some 5 interesting questions that you would like your database to answer. And then you would also have to create 2 hierarchical forms. So hierarchical forms are some kind of forms. So these are GUI tools that you would be required to create in the project. And you'll have to create one report as well. So reports are also similar to the forms only. We'll learn about these. And once you believe that you are done, you have every component ready for the project, then you will have to sign up for the project. Okay, for the project demonstration. All right, so you should have 3 to 5 queries on your databases, and these queries should be on these interesting questions that you would like your database to answer. And you will have to submit your project components on Brightspace. So now question arises, what are the softwares that we are going to use? So the assignments and the classwork, as I already mentioned, are going to use MS Access. I may use MySQL. I think I'll have to use MySQL at least at one place where I will show you how can you design an RDM. For the RDM design, you can either use MS Access or MySQL. MySQL is a better tool for designing an RDM. Alright, now question arises, if you don't have MS Access, then how can you get that? So for MS Access, I think it is available from MSD and AA. So that is from SAC. I think you need to reach out to them. If you have any problem, just let me know. I'll reach out to them and I'll share the information. And this RDM, as I said, can be developed using any available tool. Like MySQL Workbench is preferred because it makes the design of RDM very convenient, and the RDMs that you design are a lot better than with MS Access. So it's possible you may get stuck on a problem. Like I'm pretty sure that from after watching this video, you would have a lot of questions like, I don't have MS Access. I'm using Apple machine, right? So on and so forth. So how to get these softwares and all that. You may have question about virtual syncing site and all that, right? Or if I ask you to do a homework, you may struggle over there. You may get stuck. So the message here is don't get stuck. Ask for help. So I think you must have received an email which is about Piazza sign up. Right, so I'm using Piazza as the discussion forum. So please use Piazza to post your questions or queries if you have any, and I'll try my best to respond to your queries on Piazza as soon as possible. Or if you want, the better would be to write an email to me if you have any troubles. Join my office hours, right? And yeah, that's the best way. And if you can come to my office hours, great. If not, then you can anyway ask for an appointment for a Zoom meeting. And I have this request which is often ignored by students. You should please make sure that you include your course number in the email that you're writing. So the best would be to have this course number in your email subject itself. Otherwise, it gets very difficult to understand from that email, like what course the student is registered in. Now, question arises: okay, fine. What should be our approach for this course? How should we learn the material? So here's this important message that goes like: don't plan on memorizing material. Right, so I would say any course in computer science would be more conceptual, right? So just memorizing is not going to help you. Try to understand the concept. So plan on learning to think about the material, work on the problems. So like SQL queries that you'll be learning, I don't think it will help by learning those queries, because the queries that I'll be asking in exams are going to be different, right? So you need to understand the concept behind that. So yeah, that's the way. Plan on learning to think about the material. Working on problem is an important way to learn the material. Plan to equally plan on equal time spent reading the text, notes, and working on hands-on exercises. So hands-on exercises may include those examples even that I am doing in the class or in my video lectures. You would like to do the same yourself, just to make sure that what worked for me would work for you also. So read assignments on Brightspace, read material in advance, work on the assignments in a small group. I mean, sometimes it helps if you discuss with your friends. So that doesn't mean that you should copy the solutions from your friend, right? You can discuss the concepts with your friend. You should watch video lectures. You should read lecture notes. And these video lecture slides and video links will be available on Brightspace. If you want, you can print a copy of the lecture handouts. Be sure to review the slides before you appear in each exams, right? And as I said, that the exams and quizzes are mostly going to be based on the lecture contents. Therefore, you must make sure that you understand those contents before you appear in the exams. Alright, so that was it in my first lecture. I'll see you in the next class. Bye bye.